Hey everyone, it's Zach with Palantir Research. If you're a new Palantir investor or potential investor and wanted to catch up with some of the most comprehensive coverage of Palantir all in one article, I believe I found one of the best written summaries of Palantir to date, which will help jumpstart your due diligence process. It's called Palantir, Massive Sticky AI ML Secular Growth from Blue Harbinger Investment Research, and this is written by Mark D Hines. And I'll go over his background and the article itself briefly, but also give my own thoughts. Now, I believe Mr. Hines does a great job breaking things down and highlighting great pieces of info, but you still should never ever take just one article as your sole due diligence. And you have to do your own research, especially looking at the official SEC filings from any company you're looking into, so not just Palantir. So remember, this article, or my video on it as well, is not investment advice. So first, on the author's background here, this is based off public info with LinkedIn and showing an impressive resume. So educationally, he went to the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, or UIUC, for a bachelor's in finance, and then he got his MBA from the prestigious University of Chicago Booth School of Business. So I'm probably biased myself being from Illinois, but these are solid institutions. Now, UIUC is mostly known for engineering, of course, but still a great school overall, and I'm sure most of the country already knows about the strong reputation for University of Chicago and their business school too. He's actually based out in the Chicago area where I'm from, my family's from. He pointed out he'd even meet with investors in the area for coffee in Naperville, and that's actually only like 30 minutes south of my parents' house. But he sounds like a really cool guy. But career-wise, he's got a lot of experience in the finance industry, basically decades worth, and actually founded Blue Harbinger, writing very in-depth articles here to help individual investors on growth stocks. And it's also, I think, it's just a wealth of information coming from him. But he also founded Herrick Lake Investments, and that's for him to manage his friends and family's accounts. Now, if you just look at his Twitter profile, actually, that gives you the best short summary of what I just said. He writes about stocks. He's a founder of Blue Harbinger, former multi-billion-dollar fund manager, and Chicago Booth MBA graduate. And he also says, I manage only friends and family accounts now. But I think the most important note is that he manages his friends and family's accounts. And I'm assuming his own as well. So this is a very powerful situation and really gives insight into someone's intentions with their actions. So they really got to know their stuff and be thorough, considering this can also impact their relationships between people that they know very closely. So I'm not saying everything has to go right and be perfect, because in the end, there's a lot of things out of our control, and we're all investors just taking our own risks and interpretation of information available to us. But when you bring the family's money into it, at least for myself personally, I'd want to be 100,000,000% confident in what I know. And just letting you know, for his investment research, this article is for free, but he does have a membership paywall for other features, just so you're aware. But that's where the author is coming from, and I've got links to all of his stuff below, so please just check it out if you're interested. But onto the article itself, and I won't go into every single detail here. It's pretty comprehensive, and I don't want to steal his thunder. So I just want to highlight why I think this is one of the best starting points for those newer investors doing their own research on Palantir. Now, the intro sets up the tone of the article that Palantir is a strong AI play and can massively benefit their business, also saying they're positioned well ahead in the years to come, highlighting their quality product stickiness with customers and that lovely balance sheet. Now, what hooked me on the article is great for newbies to Palantir is the introduction and overview to Palantir. So read through this carefully because it sums up what Palantir's business does at a high level. Like, I wanted to highlight the main points, but every single sentence doesn't have fluff at all. But then he goes on, breaking down the products and purpose of Palantir, showing what their actual value proposition is in the market, and then where they are today for artificial intelligence with AIP. He also goes through a nice summary of the company's history, starting in government defense and intelligence, but slowly expanding to the commercial focus that we're seeing today. So from there, he methodically goes through the key takeaways highlighted in the beginning. So first, what do the products do, who they're for, but diving into AIP because that segues to the next section of the AI market itself and the huge business TAM and potential there that will be driven by the overall industry just quickly growing. So from there, he then touches on the customer concentration of Palantir. So we know Palantir is growing their commercial side, but historically they have been a huge government business when they've recently made this commercial shift. And I like how he touches on the net dollar retention as well, because it really shows the stickiness and strength of their customer relationships and satisfaction. Then every comprehensive article has to talk about stock-based compensation. So he goes through the positive trends there of that decreasing over time and also their push towards profitability and how that helps. And then this segues into their growth of revenue and profitability. He does a great job highlighting the different metrics here, and he doesn't just cherry pick the good ones, of course, for our narrative, but the whole picture here and what is good and what actually kind of needs improvement. But then we get to the juicier parts that I personally myself love, knowing about Palantir, which is their balance sheet and cash flow. I'm sure you heard it everywhere from every different investor that's at least bullish, where they have a huge cash pile of treasuries and, of course, cash itself in their war chest, and basically no debt in this high rate environment. So that's actually to die for, in my own opinion. But not only that, their cash flow is continuing to build on this. And then he closes out with the valuation and risk for Palantir. So yeah, I purposely didn't go into too much detail on the article itself. It's worth the time to read through thoroughly, but it's a good starting point to jump off for new investors. I know for myself personally, I'm basically all caught up on Palantir news and research, but I did find some nuggets actually that made me think more or double check some stuff like that I missed. There was a $1 million Apollo deal that I didn't even realize. He pointed out that it was recently reported in May, so I just looked that up, but probably because I was on vacation in the Philippines. But just for any investor, especially for new ones, this is a great consolidated place to start. But like I said, the links are in the description and I'll pin all the stuff in the comments, but let me know your thoughts below and I'll see you in the next video.